federal government is set to hold talks with dating app operators to discuss implementing safety measures and law reform. Joining us live now is former Labor Senator and former Communications Minister Stephen Conroy. Stephen, great to speak with you. It's been a little while. Would you like to see laws reformed to make it safer for people using dating apps?
Well, I think increasingly that people are expecting that the laws that apply in the physical world need to apply online. And so activities like stalking and harassment, which are absolutely unacceptable in the physical world, need to be enforced. And if that requires a meeting, and congratulations to the Minister for organising this and putting the wood on the dating apps, they need to step up. They need to be seen to be able to provide a safe environment for their customers. And that's just a basic prerequisite in the physical world. So I think it's a really important step. If you look at the report that was released, it does show a very disturbing rise in victims who are being stalked, harassed, and various other subjected to various other activities, which just wouldn't be acceptable in the real world.
And those statistics are so concerning. Is the government and also the dating app operators failing people already by being too slow to bring in these laws to make it safer for people?
Well, having lived many of these debates 15 years ago, when a lot of the online companies were pretended that they were new companies and they were startups in the garage, you can't have regulation, you've got to let the internet be free. Well, we've sort of tried that experiment for a while now, and I think the overwhelming majority of people around the world don't believe that that's an appropriate regulatory system. They do think that the companies have been slow to come to the party here. And over the last 9 years of coalition government, a lot of good talk, a lot of very promising press releases, just not enough action to enforce the sort of protections that ordinary people need when they want to go online in this circumstance.
On another issue, Liberal MPs are divided over whether Peter Dutton should adopt a formal position on the voice to Parliament. Do you think they should?
Well, the Liberal Party have always had a policy. They've claimed, we're the great party of liberalism. People are entitled to have a view separate from the party room position. And, they've criticised Labor for having, we signed, when we joined the Labor Party, we signed a piece of paper that says we'll accept the will of the majority. And that applies in caucus. So with the Labor caucus, once there's a position, that's what everyone understands you're bound to support. Whether you agreed with it or not, you can debate which position in the party room. Liberal Party are just turning themselves into knots over this. They've got a bunch of far-right, crazy right-wingers in their caucus, and they're trying to find a way to win an election by moving back to the centre. But they've got these new bunch of crazies that just want to be able to hold the rest of the party hostage. So Peter Dutton has a real challenge on his hands managing this. But I think Dutton's a smarter operator than most people give him credit for. So I think he'll find a way through this for the party room.
Stephen, finally, there was good news released yesterday for the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese, with the latest news poll out. Why is he doing so well? Why has his popularity increased?
Well, look, I think the overwhelming sense after the election was that the adults were in charge after a dysfunctional and borderline corrupt government that we'd had for those last few years. I think that Australians are relieved that an adult is in charge. You've got a cabinet that's got more experience coming into government than any cabinet in 25 or 30 years. So people have hit the ground running. You've seen policies Labor took to the last election being implemented. You've got a leader that's running a proper cabinet government, not signing himself up as 5 ministers or running a kitchen cabinet of 2 or 3, as has happened in the past under all government. So you've got a Prime Minister that's treating his ministers with respect, a cabinet that's treating Parliament with respect. And the Australian public have responded by saying, thank God. And there's a lot of challenges. We've got climate change issues. We've got serious economic challenges coming in the next 12 months. We've got a war in Ukraine. We've got a defence situation, which will be addressed by Richard Marles coming through in March to try and get our military fit for the challenges it's faced. So I think the Australian public have gone big tick. We want to see more of that. We want to not be reading about internal fighting. We want to be reading about the government acting on the issues that matter to ordinary Australians.
Stephen Conroy, we have to leave it there. Thanks so much for your time. Great to speak with you.